everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Scale Up Your Mobility Business in the Paris region. My name is Romain Erny, and I'm very pleased to be your first speaker for this webinar. I will give you a very brief overview of the mobility and transportation landscape in the Paris region. And then I will give the mic or the floor to my colleague Axelle. Axelle is based in San Francisco, and she will give you more details about our fantastic program, accelerator programs in the Paris region. So just before starting, a few words about Choose Paris Region. Choose Paris Region is a non-profit organization financed by the local government of Paris Region. And our main goal is to support international companies that want to set up or expand activities in the Paris region. And we have a team here in Paris, and we have colleagues in China, and we have two colleagues in two offices in the United States, so on East Coast and the San Francisco office where Axelle is based. So our services are free of charge and fully confidential. So let's jumpstart our webinar. I will start by quiz, and we prepare for you 3 questions, so don't be shy. You will have the possibility to answer the question with a box on the webinar tool. So those are very simple questions if you know the Paris region very well, and we're happy to do that, these questions. So first question is, I guess you had the box on to vote. So the first question is, what is the density of population in Paris? So you have 3 possible answers. The first one is more than 11,000 inhabitants per square kilometers. Second answer is more than 15,000 inhabitants per square kilometers. And the third answer is more than 21,000 inhabitants per square kilometers. So please don't go to Google, and a few seconds to answer, and we'll reveal the votes. So again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So if you can show us the results. So again, we have 50-50 between 15,000 and 21,000. So the correct answer is 21,000 inhabitants per square kilometer. So yes, this is more than London. We have the highest density of population in Europe. For instance, in Paris region, we have 12 million inhabitants, and in Paris, inner Paris is 2.1 million inhabitants. So second question, so it's more related to mobility and transportation. How many daily trips in the Paris region? So you have 3 answers possibilities: 20 million daily trips, 30 million daily trips, and 40 million daily trips. So again, if you can vote, okay. So waiting for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So we have 30 million daily trips and 40 million daily trips. So the correct answer is 40 million daily trips. Yes, this is huge. So we have 1/3 of this amount is by foot, 1/3 is by car, and 1/4 is by public transport, and the rest is by bicycle or motorbike. So this is we will have in 2020 a more recent survey. We will see, I think, have more accurate figures, more recent figures. So question 3, and we'll finish with a small quiz, is how many people per car in the Paris region? So we have 3 answers: 1.1, 1.5 passenger per car, and 2.1 passenger per car. So the poll is open. So if you can vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. And we have, it's a mixed answer, but the correct answer is 1.1. And again, this is not sufficient. This is something we had to improve in the Paris region, and it would save a lot of time in congestion. So thank you for your participation. We'll skip now to our presentation. So we are facing in Paris region, like in many metropolitan areas, two major issues related to transportation and mobility. The first one, as you can see on the left picture, is the air pollution due to partly due to thermal vehicles. And in normal condition, in this picture, you will see the business district of La Défense. You have a lot of towers, but now it's with the smoke, its situation is no more acceptable, and this is what all the politicians are fighting in the Paris region. And the second reason is the second big issue is congestion. So congestion on the congestion on road with cars, but also congestion on the public transport. Some lines, some subway lines are overcrowded. So this is not, people don't feel very good at taking those subway lines in the Paris region. So what are the solutions that all the public authorities and the private companies are pushing for Paris region? The first one is about we are still investing in public transport, and I really wanted to highlight today a unique program called Grand Paris Express. So it started about 10 years ago. And today, as you can see in the picture, there's a construction and tunneling happening in the Paris region. So we will build 200 kilometers of new automated subway line and 68 new train stations. So the subway and the Grand Paris Express will offer a lot of opportunities for business and for business opportunities for companies, private companies, and especially they really want to have a digital metro. So if you have this kind of solution, the Grand Paris Express and the Société de Grand Paris is very keen to test and to deploy new technology, especially from international companies. The second solution is supporting and encouraging electric mobility. So there are very aggressive targets, both from the French government and the local authorities in the Paris region, to ban diesel fuel car and petrol fuel car by 2025 and 2030. I mentioned in the slide that there is a big project from the RATP, the local transport operators, and also the Île-de-France Mobility, which is the transit agency. They will switch all the bus from diesel to electric and biogas by 2025. So again, if you have, if you are selling electric vehicle, electric bike or electric motorbike, or if you are in the charging station business, there are some very, very interesting business opportunities for companies in those fields. The Paris region really want to be a leader in and leading the tech revolution in transportation and mobility, and especially on connected and autonomous mobility. So the local authorities and the French government both are trying to realize and create better conditions for private company to operate autonomous shuttle and connected vehicles. So the region invested 100 million euro to adapt infrastructures, and the French government has deployed a plan, especially on legal and administrative parts, to facilitate the connected and autonomous mobility on the roads in the Paris region. We also have a very recent project dedicated to MAS, with a MAS platform made by the Transit Authority, Île-de-France Mobilité. And I should have mentioned that before, but all those big projects are very, we have the horizon of the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris, and it's really a very important deadline for us. We really want to show to the world that all those mobility and those transportation services will be innovative and disruptive during this Olympics game. And to finish, and to my presentation, it's a pleasure to talk to you about the bike and also motorbike and micro-mobility in the Paris region, because all those active modes are really booming actually in the Paris region. So it's a picture of the Champs-Élysées, where there's a car-free day or every Sunday, and you can enjoy cycling in the Champs-Élysées. But we see a huge development for bike, especially for bike in the Paris region, with development of new bike lane and parking in the Paris region. So there were some very aggressive, again, objective, and we see that some already have been successful. And just to end my presentation, Paris has been open lab for micromobility. We have seen many players in bike free floating, and now for e-scooter free floating. So but the regulation is coming, and the city of Paris wants to choose in March 3 operators with 5,000 fleets each. So it's gonna be a very hard competition, because the city is very happy to choose those operators. So this is again, thank you. If you have any questions, please do use the chat box on the webinar tool. Otherwise, you have my email address, and you can send me an email to ask me anything about those projects. So I will now let the floor and the mic to my colleague Axelle in San Francisco.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Romain. Thanks for introducing us. I'm Axelle, and as Romain mentioned, I operate from the San Francisco office of Choose Paris Region, and I'm really here to help international companies set their business and expand to Paris and to the Paris region. And so we decided this year to launch an acceleration program to have a focus and gather a group of startups in the mobility industry and help them scale their business and expand to the Paris region. So this is called Paris Region Accelerator and Mobility. And I'm going to present the program to you. So what is the program? It's a program that starts in March in San Francisco, and it's really meant to help about 10 companies understand the French markets, the key players, and the opportunities existing in the Paris region. And what it's going to help those companies do is to refine their strategy and really define a way to approach the French market. And we're going to give these companies the connections and the network they need to implement the strategy in the Paris region. So you can see here a bit more about the timeline, but I can go more into detail about this later. The participation is free, and we will provide to the participating startups a business trip for 4 days in Paris in June. So I mentioned that the focus this year is mobility. This goes with 8 subcategories of topics we're going to cover in this subject, and we'll give a big overview of every innovation channel that's vertical that's in this industry. And so that goes with autonomous vehicle, last mile logistics, electrification, and really there are a lot of subjects that are very disruptive and innovative in the mobility sector, and will welcome companies that have solutions or products within any of those 8 subcategories. If you're interested in applying, why should you? First, because you're going to enjoy personalized support and mentorship, both from us in the Paris region team, in San Francisco and in France, but also from our corporate partners, which I will present to you a bit later. They will mentor the participants, so participants can ask their questions and really perfect their strategies for the French market with corporations that are really well established in France. And this will be the occasion to develop a strategy from the US to France, and connect not only with the business ecosystem here in the Bay Area as we start the program in San Francisco, but also with the business ecosystem in the Paris region, where we are connected and where we will take the participants. Really, the goal is to have the batch participate in industry events, both in San Francisco and in the Paris region, and really start integrating your solution into the French market. So what type of companies could benefit from this program? Mostly companies that are only in the US and Canada. We're targeting the North American market for this program. And the company has to have a solution or a product that's in one of these 8 subcategories that I talked about earlier. And ideally, the company has already a few clients here in the domestic market, and is willing to explore business opportunities. And the person who wants to engage with us on the program and explore an expansion project between March and June this year. And ideally, the company is looking at Europe. We do not ask for people to look exclusively at Paris. We're here to prove that Paris is a great ecosystem and a great place to expand your business, but mostly a European expansion is what you have to be looking for. And here's the timeline. So as you can see, now we're at the end of January, so we'll still have a few days for applications. They're closing on January the 31st. After that, we will go through a pre-selection of the participating companies in relationship with our corporate partners. And then the program will start in March in San Francisco on the 25th and 26th. And we invite all the participating companies to come and join us for these 2 days, because we're going to have workshops, we're going to have experts talk about the market in the Paris region to give you insights into what's interesting to explore in terms of business opportunities. We will have a tech meeting, which is a type of event we organize every month, and that promotes open innovation on very distinctive topics. And then between March and June, the participants will be able to get trained remotely, so they don't have to come to San Francisco. They can just follow the webinars and and go through the assignments at their own pace, and keep having mentoring sessions with their mentors. And this is really meant to help the companies explore their strategy for the French market, so they are ready in June. And by June, we're going to invite the participants to come to the Paris region, and we're actually providing the trip, so we're paying for the flight and the accommodations in the Paris region. And it's going to be 4 days in Paris. 2 days of meetings and workshops, and a tech meeting too with our French team in Paris, and also 2 days on VivaTech, which I will present now. VivaTech has become one of the biggest, if not the biggest, tech events in Paris. Every year it's a show that gathers many startups, investors, and the media. And it's a great place to have B2B meetings, engage with investors, engage with other corporations, and really start testing out the viability of a product or a solution, and at least really expand your network. So we'll spend 2 days at VivaTech as a way to really further the exploration of the ecosystem in the Paris region. And here our partners. So we have corporate partners that are involved because they have, there are big French corporations well established in the Paris region, and they most of them have a presence here in the Bay Area as well. So it's really interesting to see how you can start connecting with them here in the Bay Area, and then go on connecting with their teams in France, and really have this transition from the domestic market of North America to the French market. And we also have a lot of ecosystem partners who are engaging, whether here in the US and in Paris, because they will help us introduce fellow startups, introduce potential partners, to explore potential partnerships for the startups in the batch. And we will connect with them as well during the Paris trip. So it's going to be a way of enlarging the network. And so, as I mentioned, we have only a few days left to apply. So if you're interested in the program, please, by any means, feel free to take the short application questionnaire online. You can find all the information at acceleratingparisregion.com. And you can find everything there, the presentation that I just showed you. You can find who's partner. You can go to their website too. You can fill out the application form. And if you have any question, you can also engage with us. You have my email address on the website, but you have it here too. And if you feel like you need more information about the program, please feel free to reach out.
Okay, Axelle, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. It's now time for question, and we have one question on the box. I will read it for everybody. Do you have example of international companies in the mobility sector that are succeeding in the Paris region? So yes, we do have a lot of examples and a lot of companies that we have helped. I will probably mention a well-known company called Lime. We were in contact at the beginning of the European expansion with the team in San Francisco and our team here in Paris. And we helped the company to find office space and warehouse. And we also helped them with juridical advice, how to create a business, how to create a subsidiary in the Paris region. So since that, Lime started first in the Parisian market for e-scooter services, and they are now very successful. They have a lot of scooters in the street of Paris. And just recently, it was like 2 days ago, the CEO of Lime was in Paris in Station F, one of the biggest incubators in Europe, to launch the new their new scooters with swapping batteries. And he told the press and the people there that Parisian market is one of the most important for them, and he was very excited by the tender from the city of Paris, and say that he was looking to be selected from one of the 3 operators. So that was an example. But we do have a lot of example. Now we do have a question about the program, maybe for you, Axelle. What if I plan to expand only 2 years? Can I still apply?
Yes, of course, yes.
Son coupé.
Asking companies to create their subsidiary right after the program. It's more meant for you to discover the potential benefit for you to expand to France. If you're interested in it, please apply and please engage in the program, because it's going to give you the tools to really explore that. And if you feel like your project can only be viable in a few months or a few years, I guess it's so interesting for you to engage in this and discover the opportunities existing.
Sont activés.
So we do have another question, but it's quite similar to the first one, but I really read it. But what timing expectation do you have for the campaign expansion into Europe on 2 years? Or Axelle already answered the question. And another question is for the trip in Paris. Can we be 2 participants from our startup?
We will only cover expenses for 1 participant. However, if you want to add another,
Sont coupés.
we're welcoming more participants for each startups. It's only that we have only a budget for financing.
Sont activés.
But if you want to still engage in the network and participate in the workshops and everything, you just have to cover your own traveling fees. But otherwise, you're welcome.
Thank you, Axelle. So we don't have any more questions, but again, you have our contact details. So anything related to the program, Paris Region Accelerator, please contact directly Axelle. And also, if you want to have more information about the market, mobility market, transportation in the Paris region, you also have my contact details. So again, thank you for your participation to this webinar. And yeah, thank you, Axelle, for your time.